Hey, this is Dan here from Rune Silk, and I'm joined by one other, and that's none other than Damo for show. And this is the BeardMail podcast. So sit back, listen, and enjoy.
Welcome to the BeardMail podcast. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Who's the daddy? And I actually just said podcast. I don't know what that means. I wanted to get in.
What's the podcast?
I don't know. I wanted to say who's your daddy really quick, so we got the hook in. So when people switch on and listen in, they go, "Who's your daddy?" Oh, this must be all about
Dads and that.
Father's Day. Father's Day is around.
Oh, the day all about fathers.
But it's also about fathers. So, Dan, this is all about you, mate. This is your time to shine. Is the BeardMail podcast, and we're talking about fathers and Father's Day. So, Dan.
But before we get started, I just have to rustle in my bag of sweets. That ASMR moment.
That's the ASMR moment done. That's the hook done. Now we just need to do the laughs.
Oh my, that's so good. Yeah, sorry. I swung by the shop earlier and I got some retro sweets. So for those of you on the YouTube, you can see some awesome retroness in there. We've got the bananas, the shrimps, with the mushrooms in there. So I'm just going to be eating sweets whilst talking about a bit of dad and stuff.
You've missed some classics there, mate. I used to like the little chocolate ones with the little knobbly bits on. Cola bottles, massive cola bottles, sweet and sour stuff, stringy stuff, and just sweets. So that's a different podcast, Dan. Sweets from back in the day, penny shop sweets. The memories.
Well, we have across the road from the office, we have a place called Sweet Paradise, and it's all the jars.
Oh, I see.
What I'll do is when we do a sweet podcast, I'll go in and get a range of sweets, and I'll do lots of stuff like tell you how good it tastes and stuff.
Sweet.
But apart from that, dads and that. So yeah, happy Father's Day. So for those who, when does this go out?
If we play our cards right, this will be the one before Father's Day.
I'm hoping so, right? We should be able to, right? It's next. So this goes out on Wednesday. Yeah. The following Sunday is Father's Day. Yeah. So happy Father's Day for those that are having a Father's Day on Sunday. Those of you that are listening after Father's Day, hope you had a great day. Because obviously loads of bearded dads and stuff are all epic people. And if you are a dad, then happy one for you, if that made any sense whatsoever. Anyway, that went out of the way. What are we talking about?
I think this comes in three factions, right? I think we've got Father's Day, obviously a celebration of fathers around the world, but it's also a cracking chance for beard brands to do discounts and sell some extra swag. And so a lot of people get a lot of beard mail during the course of Father's Day. So that's one aspect of this podcast. The middle aspect of this podcast is more your realm. It's being a father, actually being a father and having created your own little child or children. And then
thirdly, is it Luke? Is your Luke? I am your father. Is that the third one?
The third aspect really is going to be having a father and celebrating your father, because most of us have fathers, but also we just push us out there, because I always mention it on Mother's Day as well. There's lots of days, isn't there? There's a day for everything, right? But not everybody necessarily knows their dad or their mom, and it can be a tricky time for people as well. So there's a small part of the podcast that could be a bit heartfelt, for people that don't give a shit about Father's Day, or it makes them sad. So I raise a cup of coffee to those people. Perhaps just enjoy looking at mine and Dan's faces if you're on YouTube, or just listening to what we have to say, if you so wish. So yeah, Dan, should we start off with the beard brandy discounty stuff, because it's a big weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, it was one of those ones that actually I personally kind of forgot until just yesterday, and then I was like, I should probably jump on the bandwagon because everyone else is. It's one of I think it's there's a lot of people are offering Father's Day discounts. I always find it a really difficult one to market to, because I don't know if you remember, you may or may not have seen it. It's slightly off topic, but not quite. It was
God, what a surprise! Is it about food?
I can't. No. It was about a festival. I can't remember what festival it was, but it was.
Dan, we're going to do a podcast about festivals. Pipe down.
No, that's fine. But I can talk about this real quickly because it's relatable. But I think it was Parklife sent all their customers a text message as part of a marketing thing, and they managed to get it so it was from mum, and a load of people It was like, hope you have a good time, stay safe, love mum.
Yeah,
And obviously those people that didn't have mums, it actually sparked off quite a big thing. So I always get really funny around Father's Day promotions, because for those that don't have dads or have lost their dads, or it can be quite a difficult situation. I find it, although I did do a promo, I always am hesitant to do it, because a lot of my customers buy their beard products themselves. Their wives do buy them as well. So obviously they might get them if they have got kids, but it can be a difficult one, especially if you haven't had kids, can't have kids, lost a dad, and that sort of stuff. So it's a tricky one. But yeah, lots of beard companies are usually doing the discount rounds. I'm seeing anywhere from 10, 15, 20% off for...
I've seen a 25%. I was like, boom.
Boom, boom. Yeah, I think... but I guess the other thing as well, isn't it? It's like you've got to be careful with doing such heavy discounts, because then people will just wait for you to do a massive discount. And sometimes I can find it being a bit counterproductive, which is one of the reasons why we've kind of now... We only really save like the 15%ers for some kind of big ones, like your Black Friday and that sort of thing in the run up to Christmas, maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big fan of discounts. And to be honest, most of us, when I say us, I mean independent beard care companies, if we're sponsoring a Facebook group, for example, you can go and find a code all day, every day of the year. You know, you've only got to go to Home of the Beardos, for example, and
or
use
Damo's Beardy Fun Club.
Or Damo's Beardy Fun Club.
Don't tell them, it's secret. It's secret.
No, don't tell them. So yeah, so I think it's an interesting thing. It's all about market science, though, really, isn't it? You know, at the end of the day.
That's interesting, because obviously your brand is Rune Silk Dan, which is a fabulous beard brand. But I was talking more from the consumer's perspective with regards to the fact that, like, even the fact that it's Father's Day aside, I'm not buying my dad any beard care products. He doesn't have a beard. But I have bought a load of beard care stuff just because it's on sale and it's on discount. And you're right, though, technically, businesses in general, they've got to do a Black Friday, they've got to do a Valentine's special, a Mother's Day special, a Father's Day special. It's like, actually, there probably is something every month, every time for something, if you do fall into that pit of trying to... And then if you do try and outdo your competitors, I suppose, with bigger discounts, you are hitting your profit margin and that. So, I mean, that's more your realm, that is, because, you know, I don't do discounts for DBFC. Boom.
And to be honest, we're not one of the most expensive brands out there. We're probably actually one of the more cheaper brands out there. I don't know why.
I thought you were sort of like a nice little premium quality and not premium price. Is that what you're saying, Dan?
That's exactly that was pretty much one of our slogans for a while, was premium product without the premium price tag. But I think it was so we can't really do heavy discounts, otherwise we're in territory where we're not making any money.
Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about Rune Silk or discounts for Rune Silk products, but go and buy some Rune Silk if you're listening. That is my conscious, what's the word? Subconscious, subliminal messaging for today. Your beard is feeling very dry. Go and put some Rune Silk Dark Night Bedtime Beard Butter in your beard and relax for at least half an hour before going to sleep.
And use this special Father's Day only code, valid until Friday. That'll be coming out soon. Anyway, what is it? This is interesting then, because you're right, actually. Who in your household, because you've got the children and the wife, who buys the Father's Day presents for you?
So, the kids now are at an age where my daughter will probably go and get me a Toblerone or something like that, the older one, because they're and my middle one, which is coming up, which is 11, she'll probably get me something. But the missus usually packs me a couple of beers or something, so she obviously has to buy those because the kids aren't old enough to get served. But I would say that the missus does the gifts, but then sometimes you do get a nice surprise, and it's like, oh, that's really cool. And you know, and Megan will turn around and she didn't even realise that, you know, April had done that, or Ray had got me something from the shop. So before, obviously, it was the missus would go out and get me something, you know, the same as I do still. I'll buy her 3 things and they're all from the kids, and then I'll make her breakfast and take her out for lunch and stuff like that. So I guess it'll be a similar vibe to that. I usually get a couple of bits and pieces chucked at me when I'm asleep.
Woken up with a delicious breakfast.
Woken up with a can of cider at the side of my head or something. Like, what a surprise! Oh, gonna need that.
A big slab of Toblerone. So being a father, Dan, let's move away from the present side of things. What's it like being a dad?
It's hard.
No, that's how you conceive a child, Dan. Not
I'm sorry. I was taking you through the journey. It's hard, love.
Right from the beginning.
Yeah, right from the beginning. It all started with it being hard, and it all ends being really hard. I tell you what, it's. Do you know what? It's a funny one, isn't it? Because everyone always says, "Oh, if I'd have planned it better," or for me, I was quite young, a young dad. Like I was 22 when we had our first child, and I'd always planned to become a parent at sort of 27, like do the uni, get the job, build the cash funds, have a secure household. Yeah, that didn't happen. 22, shit. Kick up the ass, all of a sudden you're ready. Because I don't think you'll ever be ready to have a child until you have one. Because they always say, oh, maybe I should have wait till we're ready, get the dog first. It's like you'll never be ready to have a child until you have one. And then you're like, oh, that's what you do. Oh, don't drop them. And it is hard. So for me, I mean, I was studying my degree. I was doing my bachelor's degree at university. I was in my second year when I had a child. So trying to hold down university, doing my dissertation when my daughter was 2, to having to fill in as many part-time jobs as possible to pay the rent for my missus and my kid, and support a family on a part-time job while studying. Like it was hard. Like it was very tough. It hasn't got any easier.
Yeah, so if you could buy some rune silk this weekend, that would really help Dan out a lot.
Oh yeah,
you can see he's had a hard
it's just
life.
a credit card. Like if everyone could just contribute, just chip in and do like that 17.5 grand's worth of sales this week. No, I'm joking.
At some point, I am hoping you're going to say it's rewarding and you get some pleasure out of it.
No, it is. Like, I mean, it's beside that. I mean, like, the hard parts are the stress, the worry, the physical, the financial, the always tired. Like, don't have children, guys. It's exhausting unless you're ready to be exhausted for life. The benefits are once they're old enough to clean the dishes, like they can help out around the house. They probably won't, because kids are so woke these days. It's slave labor, and you have to pay them to do this sort of thing now, apparently. Not selling it, am I? That's the whole point. Strap up, wrap up. Don't. No, of course it's rewarding. I mean, kids say the funniest things. I actually had a chat with a guy today who I was doing some work for on his website, and he's a locksmith. And I spoke to him on the phone for the first time because I've just come in on the project. And I said, "Oh, we've met before." He said, "Oh, have we?" I said, "Yeah, you let me in my house when my son locked me out." He was like, "Burnt pizza." I was like, "Yeah, that's the one." So what happened? What happened is I went outside to go in to get something out of the shed, and my son was 3, right? I literally was in the shed and I heard a click, and I was like, no chance. My son had locked me out. My keys were in the house. My son had locked me out. My wife is in South Africa at the time. She's gone to visit her dad.
Was the kid in the house?
Yes.
With the
pizza in the oven.
Social services, stop listening right now. Carry on.
So yeah. So I'm freaking out, trying to phone my daughter. April, where are you? Where are you? Have you got a key?
Hang on. So at the same time you lost your daughter, or this was all in the house? Oh, right.
No, she was out. She was coming back from school or something. And I said to her, right. I said, "Have you got a key?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Where is it?" She said, "In my gym bag." I said, "Where's your gym bag?" She said, "By the front door." Oh, fuck.
By the front door on the inside or the outside of the house?
Yeah, unfortunately, it was the inside. So I was like, I don't know what to do. My son's taunting me. He's there, stood on a chair, like flicking the light on and off on the outside light, thinking it's really funny. I'm like, "Open the door," and he's like, opening the handle, like trying to push the handle down. I'm like, no, turn the key, and he's just looking at me going. And then he walked over, walked through the lounge, picked up a cup of water. I was like, put the water down, and he literally looked at me and tipped it on the floor. I'm like that, going, oh God.
He is his father's boy.
Yeah, and then he ran through and slipped over, and he was crying, and I couldn't console him, and I'm feeling really bad on the other side of this window, freaking out, this close to putting a brick through the window. And I phoned a locksmith and said, "Can you come out?" And he said, "Yeah, it'll be 150 quid." I was like, "Cheers!" Literally just got the pizza out the oven. It was a little brown on top. I still ate it.
Nice.
And then I comforted my son.
After you've had the pizza,
the other way around. Yeah, the pizza needs to be eaten for sure. So that just gives you an idea about being a parent. you know, it's several trips to A&E and then having several conversations with social services. Can you explain how your child ended up with the gash on their head? Honestly, they definitely tripped over, head-butted something, cut their eye. Yes, this is the third trip to A&E. Yes, we are the Joneses. We have very accidental children. I swear to God, I'm not beating my children. They just like to do stupid shit all the time. So it's the fear, but I'm hoping the reward comes like when they've left and like they do all the grandchildren and that, and it's nice to see them growing up and becoming humans and adults themselves. But no, the love is there though, right? The love is the reason behind it. Like there's nothing quite like getting home and your kids being uber excited, running up to you, saying hi, missed you daddy, love you daddy. That stops at about 5, 6, and then they just go, all right. I'm like, how's your day? And they're like, yeah, good, do some mad motives, this peng and leng and that. I'm like, what was that? What is a peng and a leng and a motive? What's a motive? I had to ask what a mad motive was the other day, because they're saying all these weird words. Peng, leng, peng. Peng is really good and leng's even better than peng.
What is mad motive?
Mad motives is when you have motives is when you have a gathering, and mad motives is when you have a gathering with purpose, like proper having it large. You go mad motives. So we're all going to go down the park, have mad motives over the summer holidays. It's going to be peng. Actually, do you know what? It's not even going to be peng. It's going to be leng.
Nice. Well, I tell you what is rewarding, Dan, is that they're keeping you young and they're keeping you in tune with the younger populations, because I did not know any of that. We should.
I still don't know any of it. She talks to me. I'm like, all right, listen, I'm not one of your mad motives hook up crew. Please talk to me like you would talk to your grandparents, with words that I understand.
We should go on some mad motives, mate. They would be absolutely pengers, mate. They would be pengers. Let's make up our own.
There'd be more than peng. There'd be leng, mate. So there's peng. Peng is like yes, boy. Peng is like, but leng is like peng on another level. Leng, and they use it for people as well. Oh, she's peng, man. Nah, she ain't peng, man. She's leng. Can you not just say, like, when we were like, she's really good looking, isn't she? Look how attractive.
You're beautiful.
Yeah, like, she was fit. I guess it's the same as when we used to say, oh, she's well fit, right? Which never really understood that either. What, she's like, what, quite active and sporty and that? Nah, she's not one of them. She's like really good looking and that, isn't she? So she's just good looking. She's not fit. She don't do any running. She's not like athletic. Nah, she's just fit.
That is sick, mate. Sick. So do you think it's a bit of a longer term investment? Are you hoping that they'll look after you when you're old and disabled and weeing in your own chair?
Not even that, really. I'd rather not. I think my pride wouldn't let me. I wouldn't like my kids to do that. Wipe my butt on that. But I think.
Well, that's what the wife's for, isn't it?
No, I think so. I think kids give you a real sense of purpose and drive. Like everything I do is ideally for my kids. Like so, when I was a lot younger in the 80s, it was hard. Like it was hard I grew up with, from an age where I was actually, my mum was looking after me. My dad disappeared, talking about Father's Day. And it was tough. So I think I always had the dream that when my kids ask us something, I don't have to say no. Like my default answer isn't no. So I think that for me is the drive to be able to say yes more. I still haven't got there yet. I'm still struggling. So I don't think that 17.5 grand with the sales guys. Time's running out. I think it is. I think it gives you purpose. For me, it's my purpose. Like, to see your kids smile when you bang out a brand new pair of sick crepes for them. I'm not talking about pancakes either. That's what kids do, man. I don't even know how to explain it. Like you never know love until you make a human. It's a different kind of love.
That is deep,
it's a different kind of love. Like there's no love in the world that compares to the love of the thing that you created. Like, it goes deep. And I think emotional because you can start crying in that.
Well, no, I don't plan to make anyone cry today, but you mentioned obviously your dad not being around, and obviously feel free to speak or don't speak. But I'm interested actually, like, so,
yeah.
Like, do you see him now, or were you fatherless growing up, and has that affected how you are as a dad now?
So yeah, I think it has. So no, the answer to your earlier question, no, he moved to Northern Ireland on my 15th birthday, so I never
Yeah, I
quite forgave
remember
him
you
for that
mentioned.
very much. And then so I don't see him after I became 18, and he stopped paying for me to go and visit him. I didn't go because I didn't have the money at the time, and I was broke and starting the jobs, and then I had kids, and then it was just too expensive for us all to go over, and I don't know. I think it's a difficult one without going too deep. I mean, I always kind of vowed that I wouldn't be like my dad. Like my dad, like I don't mind saying it on a podcast. He's probably not going to listen. If he does, then it's fair enough. But he was an alcoholic and he was violent. So I always vowed that I would never be alcoholic and violent towards my family, kids, wife, whatever. I never lay a hand on them to hurt them. And so I guess that I've learned from his mistakes. I think that's what I would take from my own dad, how not to do it. He hopefully won't hear that and then hate me forever. But we learn from our parents' mistakes, or we're supposed to be, right? The other challenges as well is that, well, I was talking to Megan about this, that we've got to be really careful about how controlling you be. That we always think we know what's best for our kids, but we don't. We know what would have been better for us in their situation. And the most important thing to take away from that is that they are not you. You are not your parents. So what your parents think are good for you is good for them, and I think that's one thing that I'm learning. And it is hard. Like, it's difficult as a young teen who used to smoke. You're trying to tell your kids, don't smoke, don't drink, don't do all the cool shit that looks fun, because stupid stuff will happen and you'll regret it. And then you just got to kind of go, well, actually, I wonder how many generations have said to their kids, don't do stupid shit, because I did it and it was a really bad idea. And the kids go, well, you did it, so I am. Or is it just a thing or is it just a part of growing up? So yeah, I would say I don't think it necessarily had a negative impact on me growing up with a single parent, because my mum met someone quite quickly afterwards, and it was we moved in with him, and that was probably one of the best things that happened to me, if I'm honest.
So do you get him a Father's Day present, or do you send anything to your old man, or do you not do anything for Father's Day for your upwards?
No, I usually send him a pair of sunglasses. He's got the world's biggest rune silk sunglasses collection. No, right. I do. I usually do put a bit of a care package together for him, because I can't say he's not helped me out. Like, I still love my dad. Like, yes, the childhood side of things was a bit savage, but being a parent myself and going through the strains and the stresses that I've been through in the early stages of being a young parent, like he was 23 when I was born, and had got into a relationship with a woman who already had 3 kids. So I can see why he would probably be stressed out, and where his mental health probably took quite a big hold. You're looking at the 80s. Mental health wasn't even recognized. Mental health wasn't even a thing. If a man cried, he was weak. So you weren't allowed to talk about depression and mental health. He had to just go and plod on and work. And I think that, had he had help for his mental health issues, he probably wouldn't have drank so much. I mean, we're talking he would drink daily, every single day. Drink. Smoke. And it's taken a toll on his health now. He's only got one leg and all sorts of shit. So, I think that, I understand the stresses that he would have gone through in the 80s of trying to look after a family of 4, 3 of kids of which weren't his, who thought, who the hell is this guy in my life now? We're probably being shit to him because he was stepdad or whatever. And, so I don't hold that against him. I don't hold a grudge against my dad. Like, I go and see him, and I talk to him quite regularly, but yeah, it's like I say, I don't blame him for what he did, because I understand, what was probably going through his mind at the time.
That's deep, man.
This got deep, didn't it? This got deep. This podcast wasn't supposed to be this deep.
I hope it's cathartic and helping. It is interesting, actually, thinking about it. There's a couple of lads I know, their dad is an alcoholic, or was an alcoholic, and they're brothers, and one of them does not drink at all, and the other one drinks like a fish. So it doesn't really, necessarily, like you said, you've learned from, what not to do, and it doesn't necessarily always work out like that. But yeah, so Dan, that was lovely, man. I feel like we're connected. I feel like, don't worry, no one listens to the podcast. It probably only have 4 people who see it, and that'll be me watching it back, you watching it back, probably my missus. Oh, I didn't have to get in trouble. My missus has started subscribing and watching, and something about me and Pamela Anderson. I'm in so much trouble now. I can't even mention Pamela Anderson anymore in the house.
Could be worse. Could be worse. I was talking about herd immunity and all that.
Oh, blimey, that's it. You're done for. But yeah, so what will you be doing? What will you be doing this Sunday then? With it being well, obviously not this Sunday, but after we post the thing, what will you be doing on Father's Day?
I will be waking up to kids jumping in the bed for a nice cuddle, because that's how it rolls. My wife will more than likely go and make me a Leng breakfast, which will feature which will feature some poached egg vibes, probably with some sesame seeds and a nice tomato and garlic and onion thing, chutney with some bacon and some bread, and it'll be really nice with some avocado and real nice breakfast. If you're listening, babe, that's exactly what I want. Breakfast. Same thing you do every year, babe. It's great. Then we're going to go to lunch at Bodrum. We're going to go for a Turkish, because she said, "Well, do you want to go for some food?" And I was like, she said, "Do you want to do Bodrum?" I said, "That's the best place ever. Meat, kebabs."
What is this place called? Say it slowly without a face full of sweets.
I can't stop eating these sweets. This is going to be the most incomprehensible podcast of the time. It's called New Bodrum.
Bodrum. Okay. So far, we've got halfway through your Father's Day plans, and all I've heard of is food so far. So you're having food for breakfast, you're having food for lunch. I guess you've got something planned for the evening, perhaps some food and that?
Probably some food. Yeah, I reckon we'll probably do a takeout, maybe like a Chinese or something like that. I think the thing is with Father's Day, it's always that odd time of the year, being June, and the weather not quite sure whether it's summer or not. So I think, if the weather's nice, we'll go and do something. If the weather's rubbish, we'll
have food outside.
You'd probably get a barbecue or something like that. But I think it all depends on the weather. Like, we probably will do some stuff together. Take the dog for a walk around Paxton Pits or something like that. But I mean, I always find it really weird, Father's Day, because it's like, I'm kind of a dad 365 days of the year, apart from when I go away for the weekend or I'm working away, right? Yeah. So to have a day where everyone's doing stuff for me, I'm like, I don't mind it, but it's a bit awkward sometimes. I'm just a little bit like, it's just another day, right? Well, they bring the gifts. Like, I like the gifts, bring them, keep bringing them. But if we could do that every day.
Is there anything cool that happens? Like, like if you go to a restaurant or something, and there's like loads of other dads out there that are getting treated as well. Like a fellow beardsman will give you a little nod because you've both got a beard. Is there some fellow dadsman stuff going on?
No, not really. No. Do you know what? It's actually there isn't. I mean, because everyone just kind of wears Father's Day, innit? Like, I don't need to acknowledge the fact it's Father's Day. He knows it's Father's Day. And actually, do you know what? That's quite a good point. I don't think everyone's kind of gone, well done, mate. You've had kids. They definitely they work.
It should be a thing, Dan. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, because it's the same with the beard, right? The respect that you give a man for having a massive beard, for all the struggles he's gone through. When you're sitting there with like a 16-year-old child, they should definitely, someone should come over like a pint and be like, "You've earned that."
Well done, mate. Got to 16 and it's not died yet.
Exactly that. Do you know what I mean?
Can't even look after a plant for 3 weeks.
No. Well, my missus definitely can't. I sent her a TikTok the other day of some woman talking about a woman doing a trip to IKEA, and she's talking about this plant that's a really good plant to have because they don't die and they outlive your kids. And then she's like, "I killed it in 45 minutes." That's just quite funny. That's my wife. She's getting better as she gets older. I think it's an age thing, right? Don't get plants unless you're over 35 or something, because it's impossible to keep them alive. You just can't. So but yeah, I think, what about yourself? Do you do much for your dad?
Yeah, usually we could just go take him out for a bit of dinner. So I live, about a good hour away. But yeah, take him out for a spot of dinner and then try and pay for it, and then he won't let us, and then he pays for it, and then job done. And that's what we usually do every year. We don't do nothing overly exciting. But if we do, carvery is usually a good shout. A bit of a harvester or a bit of a carvery. But do you know what? This Sunday coming, the one where is Father's Day, I think I'm going to give a little nod to other fathers, and I might tell them, well done, your nuts are working on that. You've had a kid, you have a day out. Have a lovely, lovely day, mate. Not everyone's got kids. I don't have kids, so I don't know what it's like. You probably take it for granted, and it probably is a lot of hassle and stress. But like you say, I bet it's also quite rewarding as well. So like anything in the world, pros and cons. I did like what you said actually about like having purpose and everything I do it for you, Brian Adams. It does make sense, doesn't it? You've got to be more responsible. I find that sometimes I'm very irresponsible, but it's because I've got no kids and I've got no mortgage. And at any point I could, if I had the money, just fly to Vegas and not come back. I wouldn't. If you're listening, my love, should be listening again. Should be thinking I'm having an affair with Pamela.
That's the only downside is the freedom of flexibility. So,
let's not put a downer on it. We're just wrapping up. It's a 30-minute podcast, Dan. Don't put a downer on it and say,
no. But obviously, if you haven't got kids, then make the most of that freedom because, I've got a mate who just literally rocks up at the airport with his passport and goes, "What's leaving in the next 10 minutes and cheap?"
Yeah.
You can't do that with kids because they'll go, "How many kids have you got?" And you go 3 of them. Like, that'll be £1,715,000 and all the thousands and all the noughts on the end. And I'll have to say, well, not enough people bought my beard care products this week, so we guess we're going to Tesco.
And the only thing you should get from Tesco's is food. Don't buy any beard care products from there. You should go and buy some beard products from Root Silk.
Oh, I was thinking about just getting the fuel. Can't afford to actually go into the shop and spend.
Mate, it's so expensive fuel. I don't even want to go there. That'll be another podcast. My car broke down the other day, which was as well. That's another podcast. Anyway, let's wrap this one up. We have talked about fathers, being a father, having a father, and beard care stuff. We tied that in nice. I thought a bit of beard stuff on the BeardMail. I'm hoping that we will see loads and loads and loads of pictures of beardy dads opening their beard mailboxes and posting them up in the group. That would be cool.
Definitely. We'll do a big Father's Day shout out as well. So massive. I've got some beard mail coming actually, so I'm going to be doing some more soon. But let's wrap up today's podcast. Thank you everybody for listening. If you can please give this a little share. We don't normally beg for shares. I said to Dan when we first started doing this, I don't want to be one of them people that say tell people what to do, tell them to subscribe and tell them to like and tell them to share. But we've got to the point now where we've done 20 episodes and no one's watching it. So if you can please subscribe and like and share, we would very much appreciate it. Shall we say bye, Dan? Just share it. All right. Bye. Happy Father's Day. Thanks for listening, guys. Take care.
See you in a bit. Bye.